Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today, let's take a look at the 2025 Lexus IS350 F Sport design. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. So this F Sport is finished off in ultrasonic blue mica with an MSRP just over $47,000. Now this is powered by the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 311 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. This model is rear-wheel drive. It weighs in right around 3,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. Top speed is 143 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.2 gallons. You'll expect to see 20 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 110.2 inches. Its overall length is 185.4. It has a width of 72.4, a height of 56.5, and its ground clearance measures in at 5.5 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, this is a beautiful spec. You don't see the IS models in blue very often. It's paired with all the gloss black too to give it a great look. Now, the Lexus logo is also the forward-facing sensor. There's a lot of cutouts in that grille. It also has that hourglass design to it with gloss black for the entire surround, and there's also LEDs for the lighting, including that iconic DRL strip, which you can see very prominently. And there's also some nice lines that come down the hood and they work their way to those points of the hourglass design. Now this model also has a really nice set of multi-spoke wheels. You'll notice the F Sport badge just behind that. There's more gloss black for the lower side skirt. It's also on the top of the mirror caps where there's chrome, the turn signal, and body colored for the lower section. There's also a sunroof up top and then chrome for all of the window trim. And then you'll notice some really nice lines in that back door there just to give it a great look. Now this also has gloss black for the trunk mounted spoiler. There's LEDs in back with the bar that runs right through the trunk. There's also more gloss black for the bumper along with dual exhaust on both sides. And of course you get that backup camera. Now you can use the button on the key fob or the release up underneath to gain access to the cargo space, where this has a good bit of space. Now you also notice some storage underneath the floor where you can place items if you need to. And then you can also fold down the back seats just to give yourself that much more space. And there's a grab handle on the right side so you can easily close that trunk lid. Now working your way to the interior, this has a nice design to it. There's a speaker in the lower section. You have some gloss black surrounding the window control and a release handle too. And then a really nice set of seats where at 5'10", I have a good bit of space in the back. You do get storage pockets. There's vents in the middle. And then I'm just almost up against the headliner here. So I can actually sit upright and be comfortable riding around in the back. You'll notice too in the middle, there's an armrest where you don't have any cup holders for this model, so it's just the armrest itself. And then here's a look out of the windows where you have a good bit of visibility around the pillars in the back there. And then up front, you have window controls, lock and unlock your mirror adjustments, and then you do get storage for the front door panel and a set of automatic seats that you can easily adjust. Now it's a low vehicle, so it's easy to get into, where this has a solid leather steering wheel. And let's start this up now. Take a listen to how this sounds. And coming back to the gauge cluster now, on the far left, there's engine temperature. Far right is the fuel, and then you'll notice tach, miles per hour, and some information in the digital screen right in the middle. Now to go through all of that, you have controls on the right side, where there's also lane keeping assist, you have distance pacing too, and then the paddle shifters behind that. So by using these arrows, you can scroll through quite a lot. So you have a good bit of information that you can go through. You can even go to the left and the right to further get into some of this information. There's a lot of standard safety features too that you can go into and monitor, even some vehicle settings that you can get into as well. So a good bit to go through, which is nice. There's also the cruise control stock on the lower right, and then you have Bluetooth voice commands, volume, and tuning for your audio. On this far left side, there's the trunk release along with the hood release. You do have ASC, which is Lexus's piped-in exhaust note. You can actually adjust that by turning it on and off, which is pretty interesting. There's automatic headlights, dimmer switches for the gauges. You get one air vent. And then with the smaller screen, you can get the larger screen, of course. You have some information that you can go through by using the controls down below. So you'll notice with the split view, you can look at that info. And if I click on home or a menu, we can go into the rest of these icons here. So you can get into your climates to go through all of these adjustments. It is a touchscreen system, which is nice. And then you have a few others there. Now there's also a clock underneath that with air vents on both sides. You have all of your climate adjustments nicely laid out with temperature controls and all of the information there, including defrosters and the heated mirrors there. There's also a CD player underneath. You have power and volume tuning and all of those controls. And then this also gets heated seats and a heated steering wheel. Now you do have a few different driving modes. So you can twist on the dial where it will change in the gauge cluster there. So you can go through a few of those settings. There's a snow mode, traction control and auto hold. And then you have the backup camera with a few guidelines there, and you can even adjust them too, which is nice. You can shift using the shifter or the paddle shifters. And then you have two cup holders. You get auxiliaries and a little bit of storage in the armrest, and then plenty of storage in the glove box there. You have the rear view mirror, dome lights, and adjustments for the sunroof. Sunshade is manually adjusting. And here's a look at visibility from the driver's seat. You have some thin pillars back there, so you can easily see all around. So as we set up behind the wheel now for the IS350, I've been able to drive these quite a lot. For the 25-year model, for the ISs in general, they have made some changes. This particular model here is pretty much the most basic 350 that you can get. So we don't have some of those changes that I have been able to make on previous 25-year models for the 350. So if you are looking for something that is going to give you a lot of fun, this is a very nice luxury-focused sedan that also has some performance characteristics to it. It's a great option to go with. There's also several different trim levels that you can go with, depending on your budget, depending on some of those upgraded features if you are looking to get those. So again, we're in pretty much the least expensive IS350 that you can get. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's still a very nice vehicle. We just don't have some of those creature comforts or the larger screen, some things like that. So it really just depends again on your budget and what you were looking to get. But this vehicle in general drives very nice. This F Sport design does not have the F Sport handling package, so it doesn't provide it with the upgraded suspension. We basically just have the wheels and some other cosmetics. But regardless, it is still going to drive very nice. This is a practical daily driver that a lot of people will, of course, daily drive. It may be your only vehicle, and I think it's perfect. It's got a good bit of space for being somewhat smaller, but it's definitely something that you can drive every day and even have some fun on back roads. So let's put it into the manual shifting setting. I also have the gear position on the gauge cluster there, so that way we can see what gear we are in. And from second gear, here we go. And it sounds pretty good too. Just a mild acceleration. Paddles are pretty responsive, and it handles very nicely for just the normal suspension. Now again, you can get the F Sport suspension where it's going to be a little bit stiffer. It's not back-braking for a daily driver, but it's going to give you a little bit better handling for tighter turns, faster speed, things like that. But this one rides and drives very nicely. Seats are also very comfortable too, and we have a really nice layout for everything. And again, handling is very good for just the normal speeds that I'm going today. And we're still in sport mode, second gear. Here we go. And of course, this has a lot more potential than what I'm doing today. What I want to highlight with the 350 and even the 500, these really tend to perform a little bit better in the higher RPM range. So I'm going to about 3,000, nothing crazy today. And you can go probably 4,000 to 6,000 is where you're going to really see this vehicle shine, especially in the quickness of the paddle shifters. They are more responsive in those higher RPMs. And it's a vehicle that with that naturally aspirated V6, you bring out a little bit to get more of that performance versus some of the vehicles that you can get in this price point that might have a turbo engine. There are a lot of brands and manufacturers going away from the NA engine. So with Lexus, you can get the NA V6, you can get the NA V8 with the IS500 and just ring them out a little bit more to get that power. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the 350, and it's a nice place to be. I like all the materials. Lexus and Toyota give you especially with this model, a very simple interior, but you can still get a lot of creature comforts. We have distance pacing, we have the heated seats, we have a lot of those simple tech features that you are looking for without going to a million different bells and whistles, and a lot of people are drawn towards that, especially when we're getting those large curved screens and just a lot of kind of overkill in a sense. Some of that is great if you're a tech person and you like all those screens. I'm not hating them, but there is something to say with just having a simple vehicle, something to hop in and drive without all of the distractions. So I think this is a really nice model. We still get that NA engine. That's a big plus for people who don't want to go to a smaller displacement, get the turbo engines, things like that. So I think this and the 500 are still two very nice vehicles for the price and for what you are getting with that price. Now, in terms of its maneuverability, we should be able to do this. Turning is very tight, so that's a tight turning circle, which is really nice. And then as we get back up to speed, sounds good, not crazy loud, as you would expect, but definitely a great daily and one that offers a lot. Good daily, good MPG, and then could be a backroads type of vehicle that can handle well, just depending on the type of driving that you were doing. But that is going to wrap it up for this 2025 Lexus IS350. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.